Hello everyone, welcome to Knights of Random Things here, and I am back with my Crusadia deck profile. So yeah, I always like this deck. Crusadias always seem to be versatile, with being the Crusadia Guard Dragon deck, the Crusadia OTK deck, Crusadia, there's all types of different Crusadia decks. Crusadia Danger is another one that's been recently going around. So let's get into this. So the main idea of this deck is to OTK your opponent, but if you can't do that, the sideboard does have ways and the extra deck to just make a decent board presence. So of course we start off with 3 Crusadia Equal Max, which is one of our most powerful Crusadias in the main deck. Is one of the highest attack points and defense. Plus it gives all Crusadia Link monster disappoint the Crusadia Link monster disappoints to deal double damage, which is always good. So yeah, that's always good for this deck. Onto the second one, Crusadia Leonis is the Crusadia that gives all Crusadia Link monsters the Crusadia Link monster this is pointed to piercing damage, which is always good for this deck. Which is if your opponent has monsters in defense position, just hit over, boom, dead. Crusadia Draco is one of my favorite. I really think this is an underrated card. If any Crusadia in your graveyard, this basically gets that back. So I always like that this is basically any Crusadia in the graveyard, which is good. Then 3 Crusadia Reclusius is another one of my favorite. This basically, when it's special summon, pop a Crusadia card, and a card your opponent controls. Also, if you don't know, all Crusaders can special summon themselves to a link point where a link monster points to, which is good. Then I play 1 Crusadia Outborn. I can't say that. And then 1 World Legacy World Crown. So this one, if it is destroyed, it'll shuffle the monster back into the deck. And this one is a negation for extra monsters, which I think is good. I'm also just running 1 of this because there's a card in my deck that allows me to search this one. So we're playing a smaller Crusadia package than most Crusadia decks are, but I'll show you why in a bit. We have 2 Danger Thunderbird, and one of the dangers I think is underrated, especially if you're playing the Crusadia OTK deck. 2 Danger Dogman. So these are our 2-ofs in the dangers. Danger Thunderbird, when it's in the danger thing, if you don't know, is that you have it in here, reveal it, and they randomly pick one from your hand. If it's this card, you gain an effect, like if it's Danger Dogman, all your opponent's monsters loses 1k, but if they hit something else, special summon the danger and draw the card. This one, when it's hit, you basically destroy a set card, which is always good in this deck because that can hit some important things. 1 Danger Mothman, that's for the draw and discard, which is good. 1 Danger Oompa Loompa to send any bad dangers or if you guys want to thin out your deck a bit more. Also, it's good with Chupacabra, which can special summon. It's a monster reborn. Jackalope is a searcher. And Danger Tsukunoko is just a good danger in general. We're only running, surprisingly, a small amount, in my opinion, of 10 dangers, which I'll probably increase this to at least 11 or 12. Maybe adding probably a Bigfoot in here and a Nessie, which would increase this deck's ratio to get Crusadias into hand as quickly as possible and set up a board on turn 1. And for the main OTK engine, the 2 kaijus, where I will recommend playing more. I'm hoping to get 1 or 2 more kaijus. A Destrudo, because if you're OTKing your opponent, you don't really care about having half your life total basically annihilated. And Dino Wrestler Pinkertops is as a good special summon. So yeah, that's just 4 of a small engine to like get into your OTK strategy and popping cards and stuff. Onto the hand traps. 1 Ash Blossom. Well, 2 Ash Blossoms. 1 Droll and Lockbird. I'll talk about Ash Blossom. Just a generic good card. Covers a lot of different things. Droll and Lockbird. Make sure your opponent can't add cards to their hand, which is perfect. 2 Ghost Ogre. That's to pop cards, which is isn't the best, but it does open up a lot of destruction, and you can sometimes swing for game because of this. On to the Crusadia spells. Crusadia Testament, which allows you to either make sure Crusadia Link monsters aren't affected by other cards, or lets you draw up to 3 cards with the Crusadia Equal Max, or draw up to the Link rating of each Crusadia Link monster. Crusadia Revival, which is just perfect OTK. I do run 3 cards for Destrudo. Dragon Shrine, 2 of, and Foolish Burial. Just because it gets you Destrudo into your graveyard. The sad thing is that it seems like every time I draw either Dragon Shrine or Foolish Burial, it's just I draw Destrudo. And 1 Monster Reborn, just a 1 of, which is good this deck. Then our 2 traps is kind of surprising because most Crusadia decks don't run traps, but I play 2 Crusadia Crawler, which allows you really good is that if this is special summon to a zone a Link monster points to, boom, you get to search for a World Legacy card, which we only have 1 in this deck, but still that's a good way to build up. And if you point to a Crusadia Link monster, this also counts as a Crusadia, so Equal Max can destroy it and negate the effect. Also, it increases the Crusadia attack by only 300, but still that's really good. It's also a 2,100 defense body, so not bad for getting harder to take care of. So yeah, that's the main deck. Not a lot of interesting stuff in here. The only real thing I think is even very unusual in this deck would be the Crusadia for the Danger Dogman and probably the World Legacy Crown. Onto the extra deck. Crusadia 1 Crusadia Magius, Crusadia Reclusia, Crusadia Spartan, and Crusadia Equal Max. I play 1 of each because each one does open up some possibilities for the deck. Crusadia Magnus is a searcher for the deck. Reclusia searches the spells. Okay, this searches monsters, this searches spells. This moves a monster to a zone, move a monster zone. So sometimes this deck does have problems. It's somehow there. You just end on this, like this, and you have a monster underneath here, and they somehow made you unable to play Equal Max. This does allow them to play Mech Knight, so this helps out a bit. And Crusadia Equal Max is a good our OTK strategy. Plus, it is really good in general because it can negate something. Onto our other links, we play the Nightmare engine. That's a small Nightmare engine. The Phoenix and the Cerberus pop monsters, pop spells. Always good in this deck. And onto our big link 4s, Saryuja, Scoldred, and Borosword. If somehow they survive the next turn, boom, Borosword. Or if you need to refill your hand, which this deck usually needs to, Saryuja. And it also increases and special summons stuff, which is perfect for this deck. Onto our XCs, one Phantom Knight of the Break Sword. Since we do run a bit of level 3s, always good to have this. And then the Sky Blaster does to get cards off the field. The number 60, which allows us to basically OTK easier, or even allows us to draw more cards. Number 41, that's a blanket effect. And the Time Thief, I'll probably replace this with probably Redoer than anything else. And I may even try and replace this one with Redoer instead of that, so we'll have 2 Time Thieves, since they do open up a little bit of possibility for turn 1 thing. And even if they make you go turn 2 again and you won, well, they're still good for the next turn anyways. Then we do run 2 negations, FA Dawn Draster and the Clearwing Synchro Dragon, each one negating. That's for negates, spells, monsters. We kind of go into these as a secondary option if our OTK doesn't work. I was able to once make 2 to 3 negations on a board once, which is not terrible. That's not as well as most decks are. We do run 2 more hand traps. The Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, which is always interesting. Sometimes your opponent stops their plays because of this, because they don't want to make you gain life points. And we do run a small Time Thief package, Time Thief Redoer, Time Thief Bezel Ship. And we do run 1 or 2 traps in here of the Time Thieves. We do run Link Slayer and the Gizmek, which is perfect because you can distribute your normal summon creature for Gizmek and you get another normal summon. Plus you also can tribute this, gain life. Not that bad. Perfect for just making sure you gain life near, if it's like a few minutes or a little bit longer, just gain life, you win the game. And then 2 cards that make sure your opponent doesn't have a board, which is perfect for me, OTK. We do run the Waterfront for the Kaijus, Skymech for more opening, Mystic Mine, just any back row deck, and Mystic Mine. Dimensional Barrier, it has some playability with some stuff, especially the Shadal matchup. Then the Negate Time Thief trap card, and the Flyback, which is always good for this deck. So yes, so if you have any questions about this deck, just comment down below. I will be happy to talk about it some more. I always like this deck. I actually have done almost 3 different videos on this deck because every single time I upgraded it little by little. So hopefully I'll post this one. So if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. If you want to check out any more videos, there should be something around the end of this. So yeah, I hope you all have a great day. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.